Welcome to the Team Lally Real Estate Show, home of the Guaranteed Sold program, or we'll buy it. If you have any questions, just give us a call at 799-9596 or check us out online at teamlally.com.
Hey, everybody, this is the art part of the show. So what I'm going to talk to you about is it's always going to be something in the beginning of the show why do I do it in the beginning of the show? Because I want you guys to race to the radio or wherever your source is and get on the show right away so you can get the nugget right in the beginning. But here it is. The number one thing that every human being on the planet Earth is missing or wanting. What is it? What do you think it is, Adrienne, if you had to guess?
A thing that every human being on planet Earth is missing or wanting?
They're missing it and or don't get enough of it and they wanted more.
Maybe time?
Well, I would say everybody has the same amount of time, so I would say no. Everybody has 24 hours. If you want more, you ain't going to get more, and if you want less, you ain't going to get less. You're going to get the same as every other human being on this planet. So it's a variable. Let me give you some other hints. It's why people go to therapy.
Better relationships, better connections.
People go to therapy for a million reasons.
To be happy.
Well, let me ask you, what is the therapist doing there? Are they blabbing on about their lives?
No, they're asking. They're asking questions.
You go there to blab on about your life.
Yes, they're asking questions, and you're blabbing.
And what are they doing?
Listening.
They're listening. Every human being on this planet, if you look at it, do some self-examination of what I look at any kind of conflict or when you're feeling sad, I will guarantee you, I'm highly confident that the root of that is that somebody was not paying attention to you. Mm-hmm. Somebody was listening to you but not really getting what you were saying. And somebody was not acknowledging who you are or appreciating you or any of that good stuff. So listening. So here's the dealio from Attilio on how to give every human being in your life what they really, really want, which is for you to really listen. So number one, what do you think we come up with these problems and these challenges, and if we don't come up with solutions, then we're just we're like a talk radio show that just is a bunch of complaining. But they can get a ton of that. That's out there. That's not what this is. Because there's a lot of people out there complaining in the news and on social media. That's not what this Team Lally Real Estate Show is about. So what would be if you could only give somebody one suggestion on how to be a better listener, what would it be, Adrienne?
I would say to make sure to turn your phone upside down or just put it in a drawer.
Yeah, that would be good.
Remove those distractions.
Take the phone away.
Yeah, that would be one.
All right, so everybody write this down. Here's your number one tip to be a better listener. Shut your pie hole. Be quiet. Stop talking. When you, Adrienne, is it possible to be listening while you're talking?
No.
So that would be my number one suggestion is be quiet. Zip the lip. Mm-hmm. Now, if you're quiet and you're just staring into space, that is not listening either. Mm-hmm. And so speaking of someone that is a great listener, if you have an investment property, is this person a great listener?
The best.
She is the best listener. She's a licensed listener.
She's licensed to listen.
She's licensed to listen to property investors. Who is it?
That would be Mary with Hawaii Pacific Property Management.
Hey, Mary, what you got for us this week?
This week, Duke wanted me to touch upon vacancies are a natural part of the rental process.
Mm-hmm. Vacancies.
So basically, it means that.
Don't flip out when your property goes vacant.
And plan for it, too, right?
Yeah.
You guys set your clients up for success and tell them to, just have some cushion set aside for those.
Yeah. Mary,
vacancies.
what's the solution for vacancies?
Well, usually it's the property condition.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can't change the location, right?
Can't change the location.
You can upgrade your property.
Yeah.
To even if it's just a coat of paint, and just light fixtures that are rusted.
Yeah.
You know, the little things to enhance the property, because you're competing against a lot of properties that are remodeled, is from what I noticed.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also, you know, just doing little repairs every single time a tenant moves out, you know, will enhance the property for sure.
Now, we know tenants, life happens. Like all human beings, life happens. I'm PCSing, I got a new job, I lost my job, I got a divorce, whatever. All these things, life happens. And so nothing that a property owner can do regarding that. But what can they do for, or how can they, what do you all do to keep the tenants? Well, first of all, what do you do to make sure you get a good tenant to begin with?
Well, we have a really extensive screening process. So, you know, the property manager will initially meet the prospect, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And when you're meeting with the prospect, you should be, like you said, listening, asking questions, you know, like about the property, like, do you think you'll turn in an application? And if not, you know, we will be happy to, you know, please give feedback. So we want to inform the owner as to why prospects don't apply or is planning on turning in an application. And, you know, having those feedback is good for us to, you know, rent the property. Some might say, oh, it's just too much for that price.
Yeah.
And this property is like kind of small, you know. So it's always good to interact with the prospects, because you kind of get a feel of, you know, who they are and how they plan on taking care of the property, or, you know, if they do apply. So, you know, you got to use your senses when you meet people.
Yeah.
You have to be able to interact and read them at the same time.
So Mary, I saw an email from Duke about the vacancies for Hawaii Pacific Property
Super
Management.
low.
I don't think I've ever seen them so low.
Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing with that you just only have just a few properties to rent out.
That's an indication of how awesome a job you guys are doing. That's for sure.
Oh, thank you. It was high a couple of weeks ago, like in the 40s, and I'm like, oh my gosh, is this going to ever go down? And all of a sudden it went down, so it's good.
What if Mary, when you're showing the property and the tenant goes, can I use my parole officer as a reference?
Well, we don't want to discriminate, so we say,
Sure.
Send it in, yes.
Okay.
Everything is yes. You
yes.
know, if you pre-qualification, if you qualify, great, you know, but we don't want discrimination at all. So.
What if they say stuff like, I was glad my last property owner never pressed charges. I'm just messing with you. We listen, we pay attention. We listen to the people and what they are, but what I like about what you guys do, besides the conversation and looking for red flags and looking for good things in these people, you guys are like Ronald Reagan. What do I mean by that, Adrienne? Ronald Reagan.
You trust
but verify.
But verify. So I love how you guys go and you call their previous landlords and just make sure that they were good tenants. Yeah. Right?
It's important. Yes. Yes, it's very important, because it's not just the owner that would, just for example, it's not just about the owner, it's about the property manager and the management team in its entirety, right? So it's just a domino effect. You have a good, you screen for a good tenant. Like you said, life happens. It happens. We don't have control over that. But it doesn't make the process so difficult, You just say, hey, then if you can't, then we'll just have to terminate the rental agreement.
Yes.
And you have good conversations with your owners too. You're the middle person, interacting with both sides, and your fiduciary relationship is with the owner. But you always have to go down the middle, which is the truth, right? You always have to know your laws, your
tenant landlord code. All that good stuff.
Everything.
And that's what you guys do. I like how you guys do the walkthroughs. You're really good at documenting the condition of the property prior to move-in with checklists, pictures, videos. So
there's no misunderstandings when it's time to move out.
Yeah, a year from... Who can remember anything from a year from now? I don't even remember what I ate for breakfast yesterday, let alone 1 year from ago.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
you're absolutely right.
Got to document it. Maybe that's why all these millennials keep taking pictures of their food so they don't forget what they just ate.
Probably.
I'm like, I don't care what you ate. Stop taking pictures. But anyway.
Yeah, I know.
Well, thank you, Mary, with your helpful tips on planning for vacancies and just talking story about just the process in general.
Yes.
So
yes,
good job to you guys.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mari.
Have a good one.
All right.
Thank you.
That was Mary, the BIC and professional listener there for Hawaii Pacific Property Management.
Yes.
You can find out more about Hawaii Pacific Property Management by going to Experts We Trust under the resource tab.
On teamlally.com.
Yes.
Hey, I heard we have one career night coming up.
We do. It's going to be a Zoom. We got a Zoom career night in May.
By the way, if you ever want to find out when is our next career night, I think we put the next 2 or 3 on there. So if you can't make the next one, there's the next one. And then if you can't make the next one, there's the next one. And then if you can't make the next one, man, you busy.
I know.
And maybe you're not interested in one real estate
maybe
career. But anyway.
Maybe it's not a priority.
But Hawaii Real Estate Career, HawaiiCareerNight.com, HawaiiCareerNight.com will always have the latest on when is our next career night. Can I say career night like a couple more times during the show? Speaking of career nights, if you want to get around somebody that's an expert in the mortgage career, who would that be?
That would be Jodie Tanga, the mortgage genius, with her mortgage tip of the week.
Hello, Jodie.
Hello.
What you got for us?
Well, just more of an economic overview. Today was the self-proclaimed quote-unquote Liberation Day.
Okay.
Which is basically Trump's announcements to his current plans with tariffs. And, so he did announce a 25% tariff on all steel, aluminum, and foreign cars.
Whoa.
So, and according to him, this is effective tomorrow.
Yeah.
So this is obviously there's, concerns. I mean,
because things gonna cost more money, right? In plain English.
Yes, because for the average consumer, the cost of goods are going to go up.
Yes.
And for businesses, they are struggling to, find their footing to figure out how is this going to impact us and what do our margins look like? Are we going to have to raise prices? I forget where I went, but I went somewhere the other day and it was like, oh, where was I?
You was at Foodland.
I can't remember.
You was at F45. You was walking your dogs.
No, it was
Okay.
It was a restaurant. And they were like, due to the increase in eggs, just an FYI, we've added $1 to anything you order that has eggs in it. And so, just little things like that where it's like the business has to pay more. And so they have to pass that on to us because they need to survive too, and so now we're paying more. And so long story short is that consumer confidence is, trembling.
They're concerned.
Everyone is kind of like, oh my God, what's going to happen?
Yeah. They might be holding back.
Right. And the big question is just what is going to happen economically? Is inflation going to go back up after all this hard work of bringing the inflation rates down? Are we going to see unemployment numbers up? Are layoffs looming?
Yeah.
And those are all things that are going to impact the overall mortgage rate. And that's where, interestingly enough, right now mortgage rates are pretty darn good.
Yeah.
Not only that, but there's also, the good old April theory, which is once April comes around, people are ready to be like, okay, it's been a quarter. I need to buckle down. I know I wanted to buy. I might have talked to Jodie 3 months ago, but now I'm going to call her and I'm going to say, I'm ready to revisit this. Let's get serious. And I've definitely felt that as far as people reaching back out to me and saying, like, hey, I want to sit down again. I want to talk numbers.
Yeah.
Let's get serious about buying. And so that has been also an interesting thing where it's like the market is going to pick up. We're getting into PCSing season.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of movement happening. And so my guess is that as per seasonally, the market is going to pick up, and that's something that buyers need to be aware of.
Yeah, and so, you know what, so they should get going now.
And not wait.
Yeah, what you waiting for? Hurry up already. So with the it's funny, I was on LinkedIn. By the way, I'm not on any social media, but I'm only on LinkedIn. So if anybody wants to get to me or, you know, send me pictures of their latest meal, it would have to be on LinkedIn. It was pretty innovative. This guy had a lot of views. He was a car salesman for a Toyota dealership. And he was going down all the different models. This one has a tariff. And then he was like, this one, no tariff. Because if you guys don't know, not all Toyotas are made in Japan. Some are made in Canada, but a lot of the models are made here in the U.S.
And some are even made in Mexico.
Yeah. But obviously Canada, tariff. Japan, tariff. Mexico, tariff. But Tennessee, no tariff. Mississippi, no tariff. And he just went down all the different Toyota models. So it's interesting because you're going to be like, okay, I can get me one Toyota Tacoma, but it's going to cost this much. Or if you want like Super Macho Brada, you're just going to get you one Camry. Mm-hmm. Nah, I think they Super Macho Brada, they still going to go with the Toyota Tacoma, even with the tariff.
The extra.
Yeah. But like you mentioned other things, you know, new construction, the homes are going to have to cost more because the materials to build those things
they're going up.
Especially in Hawaii. I don't know of any steel mills or, you know, trees we cutting down to make lumber or any of the products to make houses here, any drywall manufacturing plants. There's none of that. All of that stuff is brought in from outside of Hawaii. Hopefully, if it's outside the U.S., there's going to be tariffs, or if the raw materials or ingredients for the things are coming from the outside the U.S.,
tariffs.
It's going to be passed along, and there's going to be higher costs. So I'm thinking, what do you think, Jodie? Like buy existing real estate because the cost is done already.
For now,
it's built.
For now,
yeah.
Because prices, I think, are only going to continue to rise.
Yeah.
Even, you know, like especially with the interest rates they're creeping down. Well,
you know, Jodie, here's what we're seeing in the trenches. We've got about 30 plus listings, and we are seeing not everything going into escrow right away. We are seeing stuff sit. Even if you price it at the last comp, we're noticing that you need to, because the market is softening, you got to price below the last comp if you want to get into escrow right away. So I want to set the expectations for you sellers out there. If your neighbor sold their house for $850 and it's the exact same model as yours, you know, within the last 6 months, because of the uncertainty and everything else, it may be sitting unless you get realistic with your pricing.
Or just get aggressive.
Get aggressive.
Get aggressive with your pricing.
Get all MMA on your pricing.
Yeah.
But Jodie, are you hearing any of that? I mean, people coming. So what is going on with the interest rates? Are they better than 6 months ago?
They are better than 6 months ago.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
They've just been steadily improving, right?
Yeah.
There's been ups and downs.
Yeah.
But as far as and there were a couple little, what we call blips, right, where we got to take advantage of some refinances where we're like, hey, you closed and you were at 6.875 VA, believe it or not, right? And then we were able to get down to 4.99, 5.125.
Oh, wow.
Which they're not, right.
That's
they're
huge.
not that low. That was a blip.
That was a blip.
And that's why you need to be ready. So that's why I'm working on a video. I'm going to send it out to everyone. Hey, be ready. If you do want to refinance and you are considering it for whatever reason, whether it be just getting a lower interest rate and a lower monthly payment, or if you're potentially planning on getting out some equity to potentially do cosmetic repairs and or
have cosmetic surgery.
Or buy another property.
Right. One of those two. Then be ready. Be on deck because these little blips
define be ready.
Be ready. Be ready for
be
the
ready.
flip.
You're like a cheerleader on the side. Be ready.
Hashtag.
Be ready.
Hashtag
what does that mean? Be ready.
Be ready for the blip.
Give them some steps. Give 3 things to do to be ready.
Oh, I like it, Adrienne. I heard Adrienne's hashtag. But so it would be, having your documentation ready. That means having your most recent pay stubs, having a copy of your most recent mortgage statement, having a copy of your W-2s that you received for the previous 2 years, and your tax returns. Those are all simple documents to have.
It sounds like just be organized. Just be organized.
Right. And the other thing is like, when we call, there's a reason we're calling, right? So for the last blip,
take her call.
I probably called like 50 people, and I got a hold of 20 and 15 listened, right? And so for all of the other people the other 40 people or 35 that I either didn't even get a chance to connect with and or just were like, oh, let's just wait. I think it's going to get better, right? All of those people
they're crying right now. Oh, man, I should have returned Jodie's call.
You know what they got to do? They got to put Jodie as an emergency contact. So in case they're on like a do not disturb.
Or they're at the gym and they have a heart.
It'll burst through. It'll burst through, and then her call will be shown, and they will get to talk to her about this blip.
But they're going to have a heart attack at the gym, and they're going to be calling Jodie.
That's okay.
Oh, we got Mr. Danbury down at the emergency room, and you're his emergency contact. And then Jodie's going to be like, oh, well, what's his current interest rate? I hope he makes it through surgery because we can reduce that.
She could just be one of the emergency contacts.
Hey, you guys, put Jodie's phone number in your phone so when it comes in, it doesn't say scam likely.
That's right.
Yeah.
Save it. Take her call.
You ever see those? Scam likely?
Yeah, all the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
There's apps for that.
I know. But take Jodie's call. Jodie, what's your phone number?
808-488-5510.
There you go. That's all you got to know.
Program it in.
And then make, people, they attach sounds to the inbound call. What would be your sound? I think you should have Rapper's Delight from the Sugar Hill Gang. And then you'd be like, oh, Rapper's Delight, Sugar Hill Gang. That's Jodie calling.
It's
she can save me on my interest.
Time to refi.
Yeah.
Time to refi.
Time for refi.
I mean, be ready and, just know that these opportunities are coming around.
I think,
then if you want to buy.
Yeah. If you want to buy.
It's going to get busy soon.
Yeah.
So do it now.
So
Don't wait.
Program I changed my mind. I want this for your ringtone. Spice Girls. Tell me what you want, what you really, really want. I'll tell you what I want, what I really, really want. I want a lower interest rate, lower interest rate, lower interest rate.
There you go.
That's it.
Yeah.
You guys can record that. You can make it her ringtone. 25 cents for first use. All uses thereafter completely free.
All right. Well, thank you, Jodie, for this excellent information and strategy session.
I think we're going to have to make that little clip and put it on our social media.
Yeah.
Call Jodie now. Save your money on your interest. Okay.
All right. Thanks, Jodie.
Thank you, Jodie.
You're welcome. Okay, bye.
All right. So that's Jodie.
Local people, we always
Jodie Tanga with Pacific Rim Mortgage, and she is an expert we trust. You can go to the resource tab on teamlally.com and see all about her.
Local people, when we say goodbye, it's like a long thing. It's like a long thing. Mm-hmm. We don't just say bye. We go, okay, bye. Did you notice that? She said it too.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So before Jodie came on, you was about to read something. What is it?
Oh, a review.
A review.
Okay. So this is a review from Steve.
From Steve. Thank you, Steve.
Yes, he says that Laura and Olivia researched our condo situation thoroughly and offered some insights that our previous realtor hadn't offered. They were very professional and straightforward about what they can do for our selling needs.
Yeah.
Good job, Laura and Olivia.
By the way, folks, if we know that the radio show is a way to interview us before you interview us, because you can just listen to what we're saying, go on our websites. But I will tell you some other collateral, some other parts of our resume that would be for applying for the job of serving in your buying or selling leads. Check out our reviews. Mm-hmm. How many reviews we got?
I think well over 700. Well over 700.
5-star average. And by the way, Adrienne, We've been doing this 20 years. So if we only did 20 transactions, that means we did like one a year.
Yes.
That would be like baby kind. We don't have that much experience. Really, over 20 years, 20 transactions. That's not getting out. That's like I'm a brain surgeon and I did 20 surgeries. But if you're going to have brain surgery, do you want to have brain surgery from a brain surgeon that did 20 operations over the last 20 years or 1,700?
Well, we've done more than 1,700 because we don't have the new construction in there. But we're probably...
You can always count on Adrienne to be splitting the hairs
on the
little details.
Yeah,
Did we do over 1,700?
Yes.
Yes or no?
We're probably approaching like the 1,900.
But 1,700, if I set it out there, people can look it up. There's no way anybody will say, that's not true. It is.
Yes, it
Over
is true.
1,700 transactions. We've learned a couple of things.
Yes.
And that's what we bring to the table when we work with our buyers and sellers, is my point. Mm-hmm. All right, what else you got?
All right, I think it's time to take a break.
Yeah, because I'm tired.
Yes, so but stay with us. When we come back, we'll be talking with Kris Eiserloh of Eiserloh Architects. He's going to be sharing some updates on the new Shoreline laws, permitting timelines, and what to expect when planning oceanfront projects in Hawaii.
Oceanfront projects, that's what we're going to be talking about, so stay with us.
Decades 107.9 playing the greatest music ever made. It's Mornings with Augie. Hey, you know someone that moved to the mainland but left a rental property behind? So Amber wanted to create a new investment opportunities on the mainland, but she had to sell her island rental first. So she reached out to our good friends Adrienne and Lally and Attilio Leonardi of Team Lally Real Estate Group of Keller Williams, Honolulu. Handling the business virtually with Amber, Adrienne and Attilio came prepared with multiple 5-star selling strategies, including adjusting Amber's selling price expectations, and the home sold in days. If you're in the market to sell your home and you want a team that will make you the most money with the least amount of drama, you can trust our good friends, Adrienne and Attilio of Team Lally. Give them a call today, 808-799-9596. That's 808-799-9596. They're trusted. You see their signs all over in my community. Visit teamlally.com today. That's teamlally.com today.
Hey, Sean Hannity here with the only real estate team in your market that I recommend. Adrienne Lally and Attilio Leonardi of Team Lally Real Estate Group of Keller Williams, Honolulu. You know, a lot of people may be thinking about selling their home, but they want to make sure they're getting the most money possible. What options do you have available to make selling a home easier?
Well, Sean, the biggest headache people have is not actually the selling of the home, but getting it ready for sale. The cleaning, the repairing, the decluttering. 90% of painting a home is in the prep work, not in the actual painting, and it's not in the actual selling. Well, we got solutions.
That's right, Attilio. Here are the solutions. Our aspirin to the headache of prepping a home is our 10K for Upgrades program. That's where we do the project management of cleaning, repairing, and decluttering. That's how we make our sellers more money.
All right, thanks for keeping us up to date. Call Team Lally now at 799-9596 or online at teamlally.com. That's teamlally.com.
In today's fast-changing real estate market, you need access to the right information to make smart choices. I invest in real estate all over the country, and I rely on smart agents who know their local market inside and out. In Honolulu, I work with Adrienne Lally and Attilio Leonardi. Adrienne, Attilio, and their team sell a home every 72 hours and have over 750 5-star reviews. Go to teamlally.com and find out in just seconds what your home is really worth.
Welcome back, and thanks for listening to the Team Lally Real Estate Show, home of the Guaranteed Sold program, or we'll buy it. I'm Adrienne.
And I'm Attilio.
And if you have any questions, just give us a call at 799-9596 or check us out online at teamlally.com.
Our guest today grew up in San Francisco and earned his architectural degree from UC Berkeley. He moved to Honolulu in 1986 and launched Eiserloh Architects in 1991 with a mission to stay personally involved in every project from start to finish.
He's called East Oahu's home for the last 38 years and is a proud husband and father of 4. When he's not designing stunning spaces, you'll likely find him on the golf course or traveling with his family. He's passionate about his work and the island lifestyle. Please welcome back Kris Eiserloh.
Oh. Hi, Kris.
Hi.
Yeah, hi. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah. Welcome back.
Yeah, it's been quite a lot's happened since
I know.
since I was here.
Yeah, I think when last time we had you on the show, these laws were being proposed, and now
Or like we had a deadline, and then people had to like make some changes or submit paperwork. Otherwise, they were going to miss that opportunity. So
now that the dust has settled, or maybe the sand on the beach has settled,
the time has come and gone.
and the
Right.
laws are
Washed away.
Yep, and eroded. The time has eroded away. What is going on if you have a home or thinking about building a home on the beach here in Oahu?
Yeah. So, as you said, the laws were passed. The new laws that have come into effect. Really, the main issues are the shoreline and the SMA.
Okay.
But let's talk with the shoreline first, because that's the most important. Really, the shoreline setback.
Yeah.
The new setback law came in at 60 feet minimum, plus 70 times the erosion factor. And the erosion factor varies around the island. There's a city and county, marks of what that erosion factor is for every property. So a homeowner can actually go to the city website and find out what their erosion factor is, multiply it by 70, and then add the 60 feet, and you get your total shoreline setback.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's a maximum of 130 feet.
Mm-hmm.
And the law was designed to provide a setback that theoretically will not have water encroachment for the next 70 years. So
70 years, okay.
Yeah. So in 70, but for now you can't use your property, but because in 70 years you might have water there. That's kind of the thinking.
That's where they're coming up with the 70.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The city website is quite helpful. Now, a big question is going to be, well, my property is only 100 feet deep, and if I have a 130-foot setback, what can I do?
Yeah.
Right?
Great question.
Yeah. So they do have a provision that says there will be a minimum allowable 1,500 square foot area that you could build your house, as long as it's the furthest mauka of the property.
Mm-hmm.
And it also should be noted that that's subject to, their approvals. So there's a lot of contingencies with the shoreline. They have, what they call the discretionary approvals.
Gotcha.
So, but by and large, I think the main issue is that there are also other conditions that come with that 1,500 square feet.
Yeah.
You have to raise your floor line 3 feet higher than the floodplain.
Okay.
And you have some other things that go along with it. But it does get quite complicated, and there is no definitive answer. I recommend highly that anyone submits a request to the city and county for confirmation of their setback before proceeding.
So, Kris, with this 1,500 square feet, is that just the footprint of the home or the total home size?
Yeah, so you can build 2 stories, but when it is a footprint, and that footprint kind of includes, like if you're going to build a garage,
Okay.
the driveway usually would typically interfere with, going into the garage, unless, it all depends, but it is very restrictive. But theoretically, there will be side setbacks that would come into play, but, theoretically you can build 3,000 square feet, but not really. I mean, you're going to probably be maxed out at about 2,500 square feet total.
Yeah.
That would be my guesstimate, depending upon the property.
And are you working with anybody like right now where they got this lot, the setback is way, way, way past the Mauka side of their property line, and then you're going through this process with the city or DPP?
Yeah, well, Fortunately or unfortunately, I was able to get one of my projects passed before the new setback law came into place. But I am working on some new projects where the properties are a little larger and the setbacks aren't as severe. Now, I should also note that there is a provision that states in the city core, if you will, the hardened shoreline, they're only requiring a 60-foot setback, not a erosion factor. Now, where that setback is, you'll have to look at a map on the city and county. But it's essentially the Honolulu itself. But it would not include places like Kahala or East Oahu. They're going to still use an erosion factor there.
What do you mean by hardened shoreline?
That's I wish I knew what the answer.
Just got to go to the map. It's on the map.
It's on the map, and I guess some places like Kaka'ako or those kind of areas. I think it's again discretionary. I'm not sure how the city has established what's hardened and what's beach and what's but they've done so, I think, in an effort to kind of mitigate the setback in the city proper.
And okay, so just repeating that again, it's the erosion factor. So like, and we're not gonna quote you on this, and this is all based on whatever the particular experts that determine this, but like, for example, erosion factor is like if you have a sandy beachfront, I'm gonna guess you have more erosion than if you had like a solid reef.
That's correct.
Rocky beachfront.
And actually, Kris took us through this. We do have a coming soon property on the North Shore of Oahu.
Sunset Beach.
Yep, and we put the address in, and he showed me how to calculate it, and it was like a very easy process to understand and super helpful. So
it is. The city's done a really good job with their website. If you go to the DPP Honolulu.gov/DPP, you'll find an area. Then it says permitting, and under permitting they have a section that is coastal area permits. And if you scroll down to the coastal area permits, then they will direct you to a link of showing where the erosion factor map is. And there's literally a number on every single oceanfront lot, almost every, giving you an erosion factor.
Wow.
It's North Shore, of course, and the East Oahu, or east side of the island, I should say, Kahuku, and all the going up the coast. Those are probably hit the most severe erosion. But of course, Ewa Beach and even Waianae Coast is pretty severe too. So in those particular properties, you could easily be at the 130 or the 120 foot setback. Lanikai has also been severely impacted. The only actual beach that I know of off the top of my head that is accreting is Kailua Beach. So if you have a property in Kailua, you're actually not going to have an erosion factor to deal with. It's just going to be a 60-foot setback.
That's good to know. Good for Kailua. A little easier over there.
Kailua.
It was interesting because we were literally just in Kailua yesterday, and I noticed that right off of Kailua Beach. I mean, I'm just a layperson, but I'm noticing that the beach is eroding. Right in front of Kailua Beach Park, there was like an ironwood tree they had to cut it down because it's like in the ocean now. Not in the ocean, but it's like right there.
Like
hanging, all the roots exposed. But you're saying that parts of Kailua have just got the 60-foot setback, but no. Doesn't sound like it's Kailua Beach Park, but
I mean that one's close to Lanikai.
Kailua Beach Park. I know that. I know that tree you're talking about. I think I was sitting under there one day. For some reason, the Kailua Beach, it's made up of a lot of sand dunes before the property starts.
Gotcha.
And so you almost have a 60-foot setback. A lot of the shoreline is actually makai of the properties. So the ones that I've looked at, the properties only had a 60-foot setback, and some of them didn't even have that because the shoreline might have been 20 feet or 30 feet makai of their property line.
Gotcha.
So they might have had a net 20 or 30-foot setback.
Yeah.
So that is a good beach to consider if you want an oceanfront property.
For those people listening to our show in the mainland, in Hawaii, we don't say like northwest, east, east-west, north-south. We don't do those kind of directions. We do ocean or mountain.
Right.
Ocean or mountain. So Makai equals ocean. Mauka equals mountain. And ohana means no one gets left behind.
That's right.
So speaking of no one getting left behind, what kind of permitting timelines are we looking at here? Because I know that's kind of been a hot button. Not just with Oceanfront, but just in general.
And is there an erosion factor that you need to use because these permits could take that long?
Oh, right. So in general, I have to tell you that the permit process is getting much, much better. It's
nice.
I'm very impressed.
Yay.
Yes. The timelines for building permits that might have been 18 months are kind of pushing towards the 6-month mark now, and I expect them to maybe even get faster.
Wow.
Now, and when I'm saying this in general, I'm not talking about non-oceanfront or projects that do not have to have an SMA.
Yeah.
Okay, so for oceanfront projects, there's 2 kind of classifications, and they are in process of reviewing those classifications. They're trying to make it easier. Yeah. Meaning that they're trying to increase the dollar amount for an SMA minor. It's a shoreline assessment minor, or an SMA major, which is any project that costs more than $500,000 right now. So for an SMA major, which is the vast majority of oceanfront projects, you're looking at about 9 to 12 months to get an SMA approval. Mm-hmm. Once you get that approval, you could then submit for the building permit, and that would be an additional 6 months.
Gotcha.
And these timelines, of course, can vary. So I don't want I guess the owners to think that automatically 18 months. It could perhaps be 16, or it could be 2 years. Yeah. But that would be a timeline I would use for an SMA major permit.
Yeah. So if you building on the ocean or shoreline, you need to be aware of these. What does SMA stand for the people?
Yeah, Shoreline Management Assessment.
Shoreline Management Assessment. And minor is below 500,000 and major is above?
That's correct. Okay. And a minor, you don't have to go through a lot of the process, but you still do have to go through a minor timeline. And the minor timeline is much less. One of the factors, though, that could delay or come into play at least is the archaeological requirements. Right now, this is another topic that is being discussed between the different agencies, between state and city. As we talk, I was just talking with one of the planners on Monday, and they are trying to figure out which properties have to have an archaeological inventory survey and which projects don't. The state has taken a position that any project with sand has to meet that requirement.
Gotcha.
The city is saying that's not how the law is written. It's only historical properties. So I think they're trying to work something out, and I don't know what the outcome will be, but that would be one of the factors that would go into either a minor or a major, that you do have to have archaeological studies, which do take time.
Yeah.
Now, Kris, your firm specializes in
shoreline,
in oceanfront homes with like new builds, remodeling, permitting. Like you guys are all you just are the experts.
It's your one thing.
Yes.
Right. Not the only thing, but it's your focus.
Yeah.
That has been my specialty. And it's really come about from referrals more than trying to focus on that.
Yeah.
I do provide services for all, the whole island, but I've been very fortunate that I've been working on some of the oceanfront homes. Those are always fun because you get to hang out on the ocean while they're getting built.
What a great view.
With a great view.
Get a tan, do some consulting.
Exactly. Have an excuse to go to the job site and make sure it's getting built right.
Yeah.
So it is my specialty. I've been doing it for the last 40 years, and have several that are in construction now, and some that are on the boards to be started.
And just to clarify too, this is for Oahu, right? Or is this the same for the whole state of Hawaii?
The permitting laws? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, just this new shoreline laws and everything. That's like Oahu?
Or is that
the
all of
shoreline
Hawaii?
laws are statewide.
Statewide.
These are state requirements. The state came in and required the city to follow these mandates.
Gotcha.
The certain laws, they're a little different from county to county in terms of what's required, and timeline, of course. But yes, these are state laws that for shoreline setbacks.
Gotcha.
Now, does your firm work with homeowners that want to build or do big remodels on other islands, or is your primary focus on Oahu?
Yeah. So my primary focus or primary, work has been on Oahu. I always look forward to the opportunity to go to the outer islands, and I have done some work out there, some on Maui and some on Kauai. But I have been kind of focused on Oahu, just because these are the projects that have come into my office. Like I said, I don't really advertise. It's all kind of
come to you,
based. And so
from happy customers, right?
And happy customers, exactly.
Yeah, I just want to give a little kudos to you. It looks like just recently, I think this is like the highest sale recorded in the state of Hawaii.
Yeah.
$65 million was one of your projects that you had actually designed over in Kahala.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, that was a big surprise in terms of the price, and it did set a state record. It was a real honor and privilege to work on that project.
Yeah.
It took a team of engineers, architects, builders, 5 years to create. And I will say the most important, part of that home was the owners themselves willing to do something like that. Spend 5 years creating something to live in.
Wow.
And it was quite a project. It was 8 permits we needed. And this was before the SMA was required. So it was a great project, and I don't think there will be another one that can be built like that with these new laws.
Yeah. So that makes that property super unique.
It's like a one of a kind.
One of a kind.
Yeah.
It is. It's a one of a kind property. It was a double lot in Kahala. Just the property itself, there's very few properties in Kahala that have that square footage and that frontage.
Yeah.
And a really special property.
Okay.
But I will tell you that it seems like there is a demand for those properties. So and I don't think that record is going to stay that long. I think there are a lot of beautiful homes here.
Yeah.
That,
So if you from your perspective and your expertise and your focus, you have a realtor will bring somebody to you and they're thinking about buying something shoreline. Either, in fact, we do have a client. And
yes, I've already alerted him.
Yeah, so he may be giving you a call, but we may be doing a Zoom or some kind of consult. But he is looking to buy either a lot and build something, and or an existing structure on a lot.
But it has to have a lot of shoreline access.
But he wants the shoreline access, sandy beach. And all that good stuff. So
we're out there looking and hunting for this correct property.
Yeah.
For
so
him.
if somebody's buying something existing, what would be your 1 or 2 big pieces of advice for this person from your perspective and your expertise?
Yeah. So if something's existing, what you really want to look for is this house laid out within the footprint of the house satisfactory to you, what you want? Now this is assuming that you're inside the 60-foot setback or the erosion factor, meaning that you're not going to be able to rebuild that house. So you want to make sure that it could be, I think it's a 50% of the construction cost over 10 years is what you can do. But so you got to just make sure that the layout is what you like, because you're not going to be able to add on inside that setback. And also look at the beach to make sure that there isn't significant erosion happening, because there are properties, especially on the North Shore, as we all know, that are really getting hit hard.
Yes.
There's also properties around the island that are really getting hit hard. And so what I would recommend is, whether you talk with me or talk with another architect or professional, to have them take a look at the property. I do offer a free consultation to look at a property. If someone's really looking, I can help them navigate what they can do, what they can't do, what the setbacks are, and do an overall assessment of that property.
Yeah.
But if like I said, if they don't use me, I would definitely get someone involved, because there are so many factors these days that
you don't want to be guessing or thinking that you want to consult with a professional like yourself.
Yeah, like in the summertime, the coconut tree was in my yard. In the wintertime, the coconut tree is in the ocean.
Oops.
That's right.
It moves. So I grew up on the North Shore, and wintertime is way different than summertime. Waimea Bay, for example, was like a pool in the summertime, but during the winter, that's when you're seeing all the tourists in their backpacks and their beach chairs getting swept into the ocean.
Yeah,
that's right.
Now, Kris, we are coming to the end of our show.
Yeah.
Could you give a shout out to the best way to contact you? Should we have any listeners or realtors that want to get a hold of you?
Yes.
Oh, certainly. So one of the best ways, of course, is my phone number, and that would be 808-777-9968.
Okay.
The other way I could be reached is through email, and my email is Eiserloh, I was going to my website, Kris, K-R-I-S, at Eiserloh Architects. It's a long name.
Yes.
I think maybe the phone number would be the easiest step, and I can then direct you to the website or my email.
Okay.
So,
all right. Well, thank you, Kris, for coming back and giving us an update. And it's always a pleasure to talk story with you.
We'll have you back on the show with the Shoreline update.
That's right. Thank you, Kris.
Please do. I really enjoyed our time together, and as I said, there are updates coming, so we should touch base in the next 3 to 6 months and see where we are.
Okay. Thanks, Kris.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thanks for listening, and thank you to our sponsors.
Jodie and Derek of Pacific Rim Mortgage.
Bradley with Allstate Insurance.
Kenji with Pitter Post Home Inspections.
John with Kilauea Pest Control.
Duke with Hawaii Pacific Property Management.
Robinson, Fine Line Paintworks.
Empy with Estate Planning Group.
Jason Wu, Attorney at Law.
Rhino with Hawaii Unified.
Janice of Dreamhouse Drafting.
Fabio with Hawaii Water Damage Restoration.
Kyle of Impact Wealth.
Brian with Cleanscape LLC. If you want to get a hold of any of our sponsors, all you got to do is go to teamlally.com.
We also want to give a big thank you to Leah Rodriguez, our producer here in the studio.
Chee-hoo!
Make sure to tune in next week. We'll have an awesome guest talking about something that'll change your life
forever. This is the Team Lally Real Estate Show, home of the guaranteed
sold program. If we can't sell your home at the agreed upon price and your time frame, we'll have it bought for cash.
Thanks and aloha.